a lot of misconceptions from folks that housing first means we just put somebody in an apartment or a unit and then leave them there to do whatever they want. Getting somebody into housing is typically just the first step in what we're doing. The goal is to keep someone in housing, right? And we do that by providing these wraparound supports to make sure that folks, are learning how to manage successfully in their apartments. So we have clinical case management teams. So rather than having, say one case manager who works with 40 clients, we have a team, a case management team of between 9 and 12 folks who share a caseload of between 70 to 80 participants. And everybody on the team kind of has a different role. We have someone who's a substance use specialist who works with folks who are trying to access, substance use treatment or manage their relationship to drugs. We have a certified peer specialist, someone with lived experience of mental illness recovery, substance use recovery, or homelessness. We have a forensics liaison who kind of works with folks who have involvement in the criminal justice system, visits folks if they get incarcerated, shows up to advocate for folks in court. We have an employment liaison who works with individuals who are interested in volunteer work or full-time employment, gainful employment of some kind. So everybody on the team kind of has a different role: a medical case manager, a registered nurse, a psychiatrist. And so the wraparound supports just means we're looking at folks holistically and all kinds of areas of their life where they may have goals and want to improve and move towards better health and wellness. And we have individuals who can kind of help folks address all of those areas. And all of those team members are mobile. So folks don't have to come into our office to receive all of these services. We can go meet folks in their home. We can meet them in the community. We can take them to doctor's appointments. We can kind of support them with whatever goals they have wherever we're needed. We don't have a ton of volunteers who are kind of going out in the field with the clinical teams for home visits. We do have the Philadelphia Furniture Bank, which is a program of Pathways to Housing. And I know we use a lot of volunteers at the Furniture Bank. That's a big warehouse where we have beds and dressers and lamps and everything you need to furnish an apartment for somebody coming out of homelessness. And we use that for both our participants at Pathways to Housing PA, but other organizations in Philadelphia who are working with folks who are coming out of homelessness can access the Furniture Bank to furnish units in a very, economical way to get folks, the things they need in their apartment. So the Furniture Bank does use a lot of volunteers, but primarily the work with our participants is happening from, trained clinical workers.
And do you know what part of people that who you actually host and they go back to the street? Because it happens sometimes.
Yeah, it does. We have folks who sometimes do get evicted from their units, right? It's really hard to know how to be a good tenant when you've never had a place of your own. It's hard to know how to be a good neighbor when you've never had an opportunity to be a neighbor before, right? So certainly we see folks lose their units. I think it's maybe 30% or 35% of folks in a Housing First program are going to lose their first unit because they need to learn how to manage, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. But we rehouse folks. So if somebody gets evicted from one unit, we're going to offer them another unit. We also have folks that we move inside and they're just not comfortable in an apartment. They're used to being outside. They're used to being around people in the community. They're used to the noise of the street, and being in an apartment feels quiet, feels foreign, and feels uncomfortable. So we have folks who prefer to sleep outside, but still have an apartment, right? And they'll store their belongings there. And if it's very, very cold in the winter, very hot in the summer, they have a place to go to get a reprieve from the weather. They can take a shower, they can grab a change of clothes. And even that, it is a win for us. We see that folks maybe over time will start to feel more and more comfortable in the unit and maybe stop sleeping outside less, using their apartment more. But we just kind of support folks through that process because we recognize it can be really challenging for people.
Let's talk about Restoring Health program. You have already talked about it just before, but can you be more specific? And you said that your Pathways formed an integrated care clinic.
Yep.
How does it work?
So, and I'm glad you asked this because I didn't get to answer the other part of your previous question about some of our community partners. So our biggest community partner is another housing program called Project Home, and they operate a federally qualified health center called the Stephen Klein Wellness Center, which is an integrated healthcare clinic. And so at our offices at Pathways to Housing PA, we actually have a satellite site of the Stephen Klein Wellness Center in our building, in our offices. So this means that we have physicians, nurse practitioners, behavioral health consultant, and this, robust medical team that's on site here working with our participants. We have a behavioral health therapist, we have some psychiatrists, and all of those folks work kind of in collaboration between Project Home staff, Pathways staff, to make sure that we're meeting, the behavioral health needs and the physical health needs of our participants. So somebody can come in, one of our clients can come into the office and see their case manager, then go see their doctor, their primary care doctor, get their medications refilled, see their psychiatrist, talk with their therapist. And we also offer kind of very low barrier medication for opioid use disorder treatment on site. So folks can receive Suboxone in our program or the Sublocade injection to manage their opioid use disorder. And all of that can kind of happen in-house, which is great because everyone is kind of aware of what's going on with participants. The communication is much easier. And so we're not really separating out like, you have these housing issues over here and these medical issues over here and these, mental health issues over here. We're talking about everything with everyone all the time.
Okay, but is it open only for people you host or open for everyone?
So at our site in our offices, it is specifically for our Pathways participants, but the Stephen Klein Wellness Center, the kind of main office is open to folks in the community.
And what kind of health issues do your team have to deal with? But only drugs problem or?
Oh, no, I mean, the same kind of physical health issues that any folks deal with. We have an aging population. A lot of our folks are older, and when folks have lived outside for a long time, there's also some kind of medical issues that come along with that. We do see, folks with hypertension, folks who are diabetic, folks who, have, different infections or, related to drug use, perhaps abscesses, or we see a lot of folks with hepatitis C that we're working on getting folks into treatment. And we've been able to help a lot of folks kind of clear and overcome their hepatitis C. But our participants deal with a lot of the same physical health issues that anyone else would.